Hey all, welcome to today's Q&A with the Rev team. I'm Ry Schuler, your community manager. If you're on the forums, you can find me there as Ry-Rev. Today, we'll be chatting about product here at Rev. Going into today's Q&A and chatting with Revers on the forums, I know that product is maybe not as clear of a term to everybody here. Product here at Rev is our platform, and product development is how we iterate on Rev's platform and do things that make things more stable, more intuitive, and make changes to reduce Rever frustrations or improve your productivity. Today, we have Rev staff members Jason, Mark, and Michelle to chat more about all of this. Jason, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Hey, thanks, Ry. Welcome, everybody, and hope everybody is doing well. This is our fourth event of the year. We promised last year to do 4 per year, and we're just squeezing in the last one before the year ends. And we intend to continue. We intend to continue doing this indefinitely, so we should do 4 next year as well. And they'll probably also be each one on a different topic to expose you to different parts of the company and different elements of what we're doing. Like if you recall, early this year, the first one we did this year, we talked about the pandemic and some changes we would make in response. The second one, we talked about security and how we're upgrading our security, and we'll soon be rolling out ID verification. The third one, we talked about operations. We introduced our new VP of operations named Aaron Fox, and then Kelly Toker, who works on his team, came in and spoke about changes we've made to grading in an effort to improve grading. Today, we're talking about product development, and we'll be joined in a moment by Mark Chen, who is he runs our product development teams, and he's also a co-founder and an old friend of mine. We went to college together 24 years ago, and they'll be talking to you both about how we develop product as well as giving you specific examples of what we built recently. I want to just highlight a couple things we said early in the year and how it played out. Early in the year, we said we would focus on captions, and we have, and you'll hear about that today. For those of you that have never tried captioning, I'd encourage you to give it a try. I would point out that we have a lot of work there, and transcription is still bigger. Captions is now growing faster. So they're both great services to do. In case anybody has any concerns, we strongly believe both services are great and important and will grow for many, many, many years to come. That said, if you're able to do both services, you have a better chance of finding a good job to do when you log in the morning or whenever you show up to work. So if you haven't tried captioning, you might want to. We've made the experience better, we think, and Michelle will show you later today exactly how we made it better based on your feedback. And the last thing I'll say is I spent time a few weeks ago with a smaller group of Revers who were pretty seasoned, and I asked them about what was their top concern. And by far the top concern I heard was it was around pay rates, frankly. And what I believe the key, and so I want to talk a little bit about an issue that goes into that, which is supply and demand and the number of people in the marketplace. In the, during this year, I have to check, but I don't think we made any changes to pay rates, or I don't think we have done anything in the last 18 months. I don't think we've made any changes to my knowledge. What we've done is we've introduced software and AI to make people more productive. And that should only tend to improve productivity and earnings. The other change that happens that we don't totally control is what I would call kind of the ebb and flow of customer work. Customers submit more work on a Tuesday than they do on a Sunday. They submit more work in March than in December. They submit more work on the second week of September than they do, for example, on Thanksgiving week or Christmas week. And so one challenge in running our business is figuring out how much customer demand are we likely to see next week or next month, and therefore how many Revers do we need to deal with that demand. In some prior years, going back more than a year, we often found ourselves unprepared for growth in customer demand. And so what would happen is we'd have a big surge of growth in customers. And if we didn't have enough Revvers to do the work, we had big problems. We would have thousands of customers getting late orders. Customers would be calling our support team 24/7, saying nasty things, yelling at people, and we would find ourselves unable to solve the problem. So that led us to err on the side of admitting more Revvers than we previously had. And I think that this year, I believe we probably admitted more Revvers than in hindsight, perhaps we should have. And I think there's a couple factors at play. One is that there's a demand side effect where certain types of customers place less work. For example, if you were a documentary film producer making movies in the field, you probably didn't do much recording this year, or certainly less than before. So while some customers ordered more, some ordered less, and that there's definitely an impact there. The other impact that maybe we should have guessed, but I don't think we effectively modeled or predicted, is that I believe that the pandemic has changed the way people think about work and has made working from home a lot more attractive and working out of the house either impossible or less attractive. So I believe we probably are in a place where more people want to work at home, and therefore fewer people can do more work than they would have in a world where there was no lockdown or no restrictions on work. That's a long way of saying, as I spoke to the Revvers, I concluded that we should let in fewer Revvers, particularly as we go into the holiday season, because I'm sure that each of you that relies on Rev for income is perhaps concerned about, am I going to be able to find work when I want to? If I have some time, some downtime during the holidays, when I go in there, is there going to be work? And while certainly we can't promise anything because we don't know how much work will come in tomorrow or the next day or December 26th. But what we do control is how many Revvers we admit. And earlier today, I spoke with Aaron Fox, who you guys met again. He runs the operations team, which is responsible for managing the Revver workforce, including how many people we bring on and who and how we cut for people that say, for example, don't meet our quality standards. And he let me know that while his team hasn't made a final decision, they have determined that they should reduce the inflow of new Revvers. And his word was substantially, and they're working on that now. So I mentioned this because I know you guys care very much about Rev and how much work we have to offer. And I'm letting you know that the operations team is planning to limit the inflow of new Revvers so that there will be more work for each of you than if we hadn't done that. And that's something I wanted to make you guys aware of. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mark, who will then tell you more about what product is, and then he will then kick it off to Michelle. Michelle is the person that actually has something really useful to say. She's going to show you the actual products we built, and she's the person that really I think is going to have the most interesting content. So Mark, passing it to you.
Hey, thank you, Jason. So as Jason mentioned, my name is Mark Chen. I am the Senior Vice President of Product and Operations. My job here at Rev is to design and build products and services that delight our users, right? All users, including Revvers. I have two main groups that help me with that. One is operations and one is product. The bulk of the conversation today is around product. That's what we're here for. But I did want to talk maybe like 10 seconds about operations. I hope all of you have had the chance to listen to the session or attend the session last time with Aaron Fox, our VP of Operations, and Kelly Toker. I think Aaron mentioned last time his job is to make Revver successful and customers happy, right? And he does that by managing the process and the people. Well, the product element is just as important as well, right? The other sort of set of responsibilities that I have overseeing product development, and I'm going to introduce Michelle shortly, but I want to give you a sense for what that means. What does product mean? What is product development? What is product management? All these terms that we might throw around in the forums, but you've never heard of before, right? I see our product team as overseeing the development of technology, right? And You could think of that as the tools you use, the web interface, keeping the platform up and running, keeping it secure, working on the algorithms, the AI, and managing and prioritizing what our engineers work on, right? What everything looks like, the designers, how we get feedback from users such as yourself. I hope some of you have had the opportunity to participate in some of our user interviews. If not, please do reach out. Michelle will go into some beta testing and how we solicit advice and opinions directly from our users, including you all. But that is really important, right? 60% of our overall employee base is working on the product. It's either designing, it's writing code, or prioritizing the work that our engineers do. Technology is embedded in everything that we do here at Rev. And I think that's one thing that really separates us, or something that we think sets us apart from many of the other vendors in the space, is that we think that the combination of human plus all the work that you guys do, plus good technology, can make everything better. That you can make more money, we can deliver a better quality output and better service to our customers. And so I think it's really fundamental to think about how product fits in with the rest of the organization, how it fits in with operations, and how you guys really, we want you to play a part in that. We'll get into this in a little bit, but we really appreciate all the advice and feedback that you deliver in any number of different ways, whether it's through the forum, it's through user interviews, it's through one-on-one, it's through Revver Council, many different ways of delivering that feedback to us. If you don't know any of those, you can email me directly at just mark@rev, mark@rev.com. I'm happy to take your questions at any time. On the product side, though, there are two key product leaders that I work directly with. One, just to throw out the name so you hear it in the future, is Baron Castor. He runs our customer product side of things. And Michelle Rand, who is our group product manager in charge of Revver Marketplace. So everything regards to the Revver experience, Marketplace, our algorithms, etc., is under Michelle's control, and she has a full team helping her. So with that, I'll leave it to Michelle to talk to you about how we design Revver-facing product and give you a few examples of what we've done.
Thanks, Mark, for the intro. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle. Some of you may have seen me around on the forum, or maybe even gotten emails from me asking you to fill out surveys or things like that. I just want to say that I'm really happy to be here today and share a little bit more about what is product development at Rev, what do I and my team do, and show you a bit of what we've been working on, and hopefully take you a little bit inside the process of how we build product and demystify it a little, if you will. So with that, let me go ahead and share some slides. I've prepared a bit of material to share with you guys. Great. So I wanted to start by just talking about what does our team do, right? For some of you who have been around Rev for a while, you may see like me, you may have seen Robin, she's on my team, like Rye, like Kayla, Lisa, all these different Rev employees that you interact with, right? And so what is product? Well, as Mark put it, we are developing technology. So we are building kind of like the website and the platform that you use to discover jobs to work on and work on those jobs. And so there's three principles, I guess, that I really want to talk about that drive what we do. So the first is we really want to build like the best platform possible for transcription and captioning. We invest a lot in our tools, Line, Dash, and those Atlas and the various editors. And we try to build a lot of useful features to make your job as easy as possible and help you work quickly and productively. In recent years, we have also been trying to supplement that with AI by adding the drafts that are generated by our speech recognition, all with the goal of sort of, helping make your job easier and hopefully helping you work a little bit faster. The second thing I want to touch on is choice and flexibility. Rev, Jason and the team kind of founded Rev with the mission of creating work from home jobs. We're all about helping people work where they want and when they want to, and giving them maximum flexibility. I know, speaking with many of you, that one of the things you really like about Rev compared to other platforms is the choice and being able to choose what you work on, right? And so we help try to build products like Find Work, where you can preview jobs before you work on them, where you can filter jobs by the favorite customers you like, or even filter by like accents or subjects to help you find jobs that are interesting to work on and that you enjoy working on. And then finally, learning and support. So I would say things like the forum, right, where you can connect with other Revvers and Rev staff, or the help center. We also invest in those types of technologies to help connect you with the help that you need and community as well. So next, I'm going to go into a little bit of what we've been working on recently. As Jason mentioned, this year so far has been all about captions since the pandemic. And so I'll talk through a couple of features that we have shipped recently. And some of you, these may look a little bit familiar if you've seen them or worked with them, but just bear with me as I talk through this. Yeah, so I think the biggest feature by far that we have made to the update that we've made to the product this year is draft captions. So for those of you on the transcription side, you probably are familiar with Line and how we've gone from typing a transcript out from scratch to editing based on the draft for like almost 2 years now. This is that on the caption side. So this year we have brought speech recognition, leveraging the incredible AI that we have at Rev into Dash to hopefully help you guys work more productively. I know that it doesn't work perfectly on every file, and sometimes it can be more trouble than it's worth. And in those cases, you can definitely delete the draft and start from scratch. But this is an example of some of the tools we like to work on. We like giving people options for how they like to work in the way that's best for them. If you want to start with the draft and that makes you feel better, go for it. If you don't, you don't have to use it. Another area that we focused on is practice jobs for rookies. So with the growing demand in captions earlier in the year, we did have to onboard quite a few new rookies to sort of keep up with the increase in customer demand. As Jason said, we're trying to slow some of that down now, but something that we've tried to invest in is giving rookies interactive content to help them learn what are all the things that I need to do to caption, right? Because like we all know, captioning is not that simple. It's not just kind of typing out what has been spoken. There are a lot of things like caption grouping or dealing with atmospherics or lyrics or crosstalk. And so this is another sort of feature that we have developed this year, is to give rookies a page where they can watch how-to videos on these important style guide concepts and do practice jobs on them that don't count against their metrics, but allow them to get a taste of how they might be graded if they were actually to do a real customer job. Another kind of area that we've tried to work on is putting more features into beta. I know we heard from a lot of you that you would like features to be thoroughly tested before they are launched to you, whereas others will say like, yeah, sign me up for everything. I want to know all of the new latest and greatest features that Rev is coming out with. So what we have done is launch this work preferences section in your caption setting where you can choose to opt in to seeing new beta features as they come out and experiment with them if you're that kind of person. Or if you don't like that and you want everything to be stable before the new features come, you can opt out as well. And I'll just demonstrate a couple of these smaller features that we've shipped on the Dash side that are that have gone through this beta. So this one is a fun one, basically giving you the ability to detach the video from Dash and just kind of like make it smaller or bigger. This can be really convenient for kind of moving around the video to have more flexibility on your screen. Another feature that we've added, which you might say like, why haven't we done this a long time ago, is the ability to select multiple caption groups at once and do things like add music notes for lyrics, or delete them, copy and paste. So this is one where it may seem so obvious, but it actually required a lot of development and very kind of challenging engineering work behind the scenes. So with that, I actually want to take you inside the product development process a little bit and talk to you about how we decide what to build, and then how we actually build it, and sort of what is the life cycle of a process, life cycle of a product or of a feature, right, before it gets released out to all of you. So these are the stages, I guess, of product development. I don't know, you can like Google this and this is probably what you'll find. One thing I would say is at Rev, we're all about being very iterative and trying to get as much input from users like you as often as possible. So I think our product development process looks a little bit more like this, where we are constantly testing. During the research phase, we're showing mock-ups or like screenshots of features to people. During development, we are testing. Of course, we're testing after development to make sure that things are quality and bug-free before we release them. And then after we launch, that's like a live test where we're seeing how all of you are interacting with the feature, and then we're learning about improvements that we can make and iterating on it. So that is very much a part of our Rev product development culture, is testing throughout the entire process. To demonstrate this, I'm going to talk about a feature that we released on the caption side, which is the audio waveform, and sort of take you through each of these stages. So the waveform, actually, let me jump ahead and show a screenshot. This is what the waveform looks like. It's like a little, like a wave, I guess, a picture of what the audio is, and it shows the words that are being spoken. So starting with this research phase, right? This is really about like, what are the problems that users are having? How can we potentially improve their experience with this feature? What are we trying to do, right? So the goals for building the waveform feature were, we started with thinking about how can we help you caption more accurately or faster? And, we heard that something like the waveform can really help as serving as a visual reference for lining up captions to the audio. And that can, in certain cases, really help you sync more accurately because you have that reference, or faster if it allows you to not have to like skip back and replay as much. And in the initial research phase, there's a lot of different ways we get feedback from all of you. And some of those are, suggestions coming in from the forum or support, user interviews. We talk to a lot of you, and then we ask like, what is difficult about your job, or when you're captioning, what is the most time consuming, as well as things like data analysis, right? So we can look at like how much time is being spent on the typing step and the syncing step, right? And that can allow us to identify some patterns through data that might not come through as clearly with just talking to users. Like if you have one person saying this and another saying that, how do you kind of, square the two? So after we had a pretty good sense of what the waveform was, what we wanted to accomplish with it, we get into designing, right? And here's where we have a lot of iterations. We're constantly showing things to users. So this is one of the first iterations of the waveform. It looks pretty similar to like what you see now in Dash, but I'll talk you through some of the changes we made. So one of the first things we noticed, right, is that users wanted more precision, I guess, in terms of being able to see where the start of their caption group is really lining up with the waveform. So we added kind of grid lines and vertical lines to give that added sense of accuracy. So you can see like the changes between these two. It's not much, but these are the types of small things like polish that we want to add to features before they ship so that they can be even more useful for revvers. This is another change that we made after doing some user testing is we just cut it in half, right? So a lot of people are working on their laptops, what we call like vertical space, basically in the design world, or like how tall something is. That's in high demand. Like if we make this too tall, you're not going to be able to see the captions as easily, and that's going to take up too much time on your screen. And quite frankly, like half of it is just as good as the whole thing, right? So that's another change that we made. We also go through user testing. So there's various ways you can participate in user testing. A lot of the times we will try to reach out to randomly selected groups of revvers because it's very important to us to get feedback from like, you know, revvers who have been with us for years and work every day, as well as like new revvers who are brand new to Dash and have no idea how it works, right, to everyone in between. So we conduct user tests in a variety of ways, but generally it looks something like, hey, like, talk me through it as you're using this feature and talk through like concerns that you have, and we'll observe people using the features that we build. And so here's a user who said, I would really like it to be easier to find where you can enable and disable the waveform. This is something that we heard multiple times in user testing. And so as a result, we decided to add this button right at the bottom to make it easier. So yeah, just a couple of examples of how we start somewhere with a goal in mind, and then our process evolves as sort of we get input from all of you. Great. So that's that on product development. And I guess I should say the very last step is like we release it. So the waveform is in beta now. After it went out into beta, we heard some more concerns from you guys, like it's not very fast at loading for longer files and things like that. And we are working on some of those things, but I would want to say end to end from like research design to development, it took maybe 2 months to get this out. So it may appear like a pretty simple feature, but that's some of what's going on behind the scenes. And there is no average development time. Sometimes it really is as simple as like someone can write one line of code and change something, but more often than not, it is a longer process, and we want to make sure we get things right. Great.
And as a quick note, not to cut you off here, Michelle, on the forums, people are asking why all examples are captions. This year, one of our focuses has been winning at captions. So it's not that transcription is abandoned, but some of our best examples right now are product work within the caption service line. So we wanted to show some of these recent examples because like they are some of our best examples to share right now, but dashboards are going to be for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, this presentation is mostly focused on captions. As Jason said, we did kind of go all in on captions this year. So that's where our focus has been. But I want to wrap up by giving you a sneak peek of something that's coming. And this will be for transcription and captions as well. So dashboards, I think in speaking with a lot of you, we heard a lot that there's a couple of questions that you all said you really care about keeping track of, right? One is, of course, like we all know you're on Rev to make money. So how much am I earning? How am I tracking towards my earnings goals, right? Am I making more this week than last week? Am I on track to hit my target? And metrics is another area we hear about again and again. So how are my metrics? How am I doing on like maintaining plus status? Or if I'm trying to get into plus, right? Like what do I need to do to get there? And so something that we have in the works, and I'll just say like this design is not final, it's in development. As you just saw, things will change often before it's released, is giving you a place to view all this information. So yeah, I'll just leave this here, but essentially giving you more flexible ways of seeing like how much you earned this day, this week, this month, and seeing all your metrics all in one place. So this product is, I would say, this feature is in the user testing stages. Some of you may even have seen it if we've reached out to you for your feedback, but this is something that we're excited to get out to you guys probably within the first 3 months of 2021. So yeah, that's it from me. I'll wrap it up there and then we can move on to the next part of the Q&A, but it's great speaking with you guys.
Did we want to move into questions here? We can get those up on the screen and maybe pull Jason back up. Or I could just ask the questions that are on the screen and we'll see who's able to take them. So first question I have up here on the screen is, will you add a volume normalization tool that's built into the editors to protect everyone's hearing as they work and improve accuracy capturing distant speakers?
Yeah, I can answer this question. To be completely honest, this is not something that's currently in our plans to work on in the next couple months, but given it has so many votes, I definitely think this is something we want to look into. I understand the problem and just learn a bit more from you guys on what would work. I think a volume normalization tool is something that's definitely possible. I think the harder part would be sort of the second part about improving accuracy of capturing distant speakers. I don't know that there's as much we can do to sort of boost the volume of audio that's already very quiet, since there are some limitations in terms of like what the audio that the customer is providing to us is. But yeah, we will definitely look into it.
Next one we have up here is, will there ever be a Revver ++ tier? What might that look like? Mark, did you want to grab this one?
Yeah, I'll take this. I think Jason mentioned the possibility of creating a Revver ++ tier in the past. I don't know if we'll call that in the future, but we are actively working on trying to find new opportunities for people to use different skills and have the opportunity to get paid more. And so one of the things that we're trying out right now in the caption side is we have this like Caption Pro offering, where some of our clients are looking for a really well done caption that exceeds what we normally provide as a standard offering. And in return, we're paying more for that. We've rolled out things in the past, such as rush jobs, where you get the opportunity to pay, to earn greater pay. We'd love to continue to do things like that. We're going to continue to explore different things next year, including possibly rolling out that enterprise level quality to the transcription side. But we need to let this caption test run out first. If you guys have other ideas, let us know. We're all ears.
Hey, next one we have up here is there a way to include an area in the editor where Revvers can type in notes while they're working on a project? Michelle, did you want to pop in on this one?
Yeah, this is one that me and my team, we've heard a couple times. Clearly, it is a pretty popular request, just given how many people are supporting this. So yeah, it's definitely possible. I think like with the editor, I don't want to make any promises. The thing we always have to consider is basically just adding additional features and like where it goes, right? And with people working on small screens, dealing with all that. But those are all things that we can figure out. So yeah, I look forward to kind of exploring this a little as well.
I just wanted to add on to that, Michelle. I think Michelle brings up a good point, which is that like there are lots of features which are relatively straightforward and we probably can and should add. The constant balance as a product manager is how do you trade that off against other priorities as well. And I don't just mean other priorities like other things that you're working on, but adding features into the editor. Michelle mentioned earlier about like having a lack of vertical space. Where do you fit that? How do you squeeze everything else down without everything being, too small and making the buttons hard to see on a relatively small laptop screen or on a Chromebook or whatever the case may be? How do you add a feature to the editor without slowing it down, so that, as we all know, like sometimes it gets really laggy when you work on a file that gets too long? And so these are the issues that we have to, that Michelle and her team are constantly sort of balancing. Can we add this feature? Where would it go? What's the cost of that in terms of like design and engineering resources, but also what's the impact on the holistic user experience? So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no, appreciate you popping in, probably sharing some additional context there, because yeah, 100%. Like I've seen this pop up on the forums more than a few times. And I think as we prioritize these things, like, yeah, super important to kind of make sure the right thing is getting done at the right time. Next question on here. Can we let Revvers preview a file? It's still there. Can we let Revver, did this move on the question on here? Sorry, there's a different one that's showing up on top here to me. The next question that we should be answering is, can you let us preview a file in document form as a customer would see it before they deliver it? What a Revver is looking to do is spot potential errors and speaker issues before that goes to a customer. So I think that's probably one for you, Michelle.
Yeah, I like as described, I think the answer to this is probably no, unfortunately. And the reason is because customers look at their files in a variety of different ways. Most of our customers are actually not even downloading their transcripts and viewing them in Microsoft Word. They're just kind of looking at it directly in Rev's editor, which is a version of like very similar to the editors you guys use, right? Like Dash and Line. And when they in addition, customers can select like different post-processing options that can affect the output. So it would really be hard for us to implement something that's like a one size fits all, like this is what the customer sees. But if there are particular kind of like errors or speaker issues that you're thinking of here, I would love to hear a bit more about kind of like what that problem is, so we can see if there's anything else we could build that would help you with that. Yeah, I should have mentioned my email is michelle@rev if any of you guys want to reach out to me at any time.
Okay, cool. Next question we have on here is there a way that we could implement something, maybe in the speaker label, so someone could save a snippet of audio to refer to when they're looking to remember which speaker label to use in different situations while working on a file? This sound like one for you again, Michelle?
Yeah, and man, I really don't want to sound like a broken record here. I think like this is another great suggestion that just has to be balanced against all the other suggestions. So like, the recent ones about notes or volume normalization, these are all things that they're not impossible, or like, we can definitely work on them. It just takes engineering time, and we just have to figure out like which are the best ones to work on that would help solve problems for the most numbers of people, for the most people. And so, yes, this is possible. I would say it's like, in the order of magnitude of like months, but not like more than 3 months to build something like this. So yeah, I would again love to hear more about kind of like, if you have this problem, please email me and let me know what you're going through so we can hear more about it.
Next one we have on here is what ways can we encourage customers to provide more information? Maybe additional boxes that people should be populating. It says application on here, but I imagine probably on checkout. So how can we encourage customers to provide more for Revvers to work with?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Rye. The answer is, I certainly hope so. I really hope there is a way where we can encourage customers to supply more information when they place their orders. We know that the more information customers supply, whether it's a glossary, speaker names, certainly the accents, some of that information is incomplete, or if it's there at all, it makes your job easier. Makes it easier to deliver a high quality product, And that's ultimately what the customers want as well. I mentioned earlier that I have another product leader, Baron Castor, works on the customer side of things. He and his team worked on last year a few changes to that actual form to help increase the number of customers providing information. And so you may have missed it earlier last year or this past year. We changed the form where instead of having to apply all that information, glossary, speaker names, accents across your whole order, you could apply them to individual files, right? So instead of having, these lists of speaker names that don't make any sense, right? You have 10 speakers listed for a two-sided interview. It was because the interface wasn't very, very, very helpful. And so we changed that up so you could provide that information on each file individually, or copy it or apply it across the board if that made sense. We also added things where you could save a glossary. So if you're working on a particular project as a client, as a customer, and have the same terms over and over, you could literally save that to your account and apply it to your future orders, or have multiple glossary lists. We don't have that same concept yet for speaker names. That's something that we can consider, or maybe we should revisit the whole process together. And maybe try to figure out how we can fill that information out for the customer on their behalf, like we do with subjects and topics. That's a lot of that is automatically generated on our side based on previous customer orders. And back to my previous comment on Michelle's response, it is a bunch of trade-offs, right? One of the things that we always also have to balance when we're asking customers for information is like, why do they not provide that information themselves, right? Should we make it required as part of them submitting an order? And the challenge is, it would result in a better quality output, but they don't really want to do it, right? And if you make it too hard to place an order, they just won't place an order. And so it's something that we are constantly balancing. But to answer Diana's question, I really hope so. We're going to continue to work on it and make a few tweaks here and there.
I think we missed one here. This isn't the next one I saw on my list. Are we on a different question here? Can we pop up yes, this one here. So are we looking at ways to enlarge the video attachment even though you detach it to make it more easily to see the text clearly? Michelle, you kind of had this in your deck earlier. Did you want to jump into this one?
Yeah, thanks, Rye. So on this one, we're actually really limited by the size of the underlying video that the customer provides to us, sort of like when they're placing their order. So right now, you can enlarge it up to the size of the customer. I think what may be causing a little bit of confusion is like, if you're in Lend an Ear or in the editor, and you have like a very large screen, sometimes you can enlarge the video beyond 100%. That wasn't, I don't like that. That's not fully intended, but it doesn't actually improve the underlying quality. It's just kind of like zooming in even further. So in what Mark was saying about trade-offs here, I think like something we have to balance is basically, for people with like internet, how large is the video that we have in the editor? Because if it's like too large, it may be slower and people may not be able to load it as quickly. But yeah, obviously if it were extremely, extremely large, it would be easier to zoom in on, but then customers may not even be able to like upload the file and may take them too long to upload that file.
So this is something that we see pop up frequently on the forums. So I appreciate the question, Melanie. Are we planning to have any tools in the works to help Revvers prove that they've completed a file and submitted it according to the guidelines, since Revvers aren't allowed to save customer information? Did you want to grab this one, Michelle?
Yeah, I definitely hope that we can make some progress here. I know due to some of the recent security changes, it is harder to kind of like see what you've done, right? Or prove that you've completed a file. I do want to say that on Rev side, we do a lot of logging. So we log like when you try to submit something, and I think like maybe if we thought of ways that we could try to like give that information to you, it might make you feel a bit more comfortable in knowing kind of like this is when I submitted or when I tried to submit, or these are drafts of previous like snapshots of points in time in which I was working. So yeah, I totally understand this concern. I really hope that we can improve this more this year.
There we go. Next question. That's not the next one on my list. Did we skip around again, or is this the one we have here? Okay, we'll do this one. Please explain the process in which product suggestions, improvements, and bugs are raised on the forums, handled, and how they become actionable items. This one might be best for me. And then Michelle and Mark, if you want to pop in afterwards, feel free. So this is definitely a process that we can improve. The biggest thing I want to improve is like letting Revvers know about the status of things. So we have lots of Revvers giving us feedback in lots of places. The most visible places, the forums, but we have regular focus groups that we do, surveys that we send out. We have quite a lot of suggestions, bug reports that we're processing all the time, and that the product team is basically prioritizing over other things. Our process today is we collect this different feedback from all these different groups, document it internally, and then teams prioritize other things that we can do based on their current bandwidth. And then sometimes a particular team will try to do all of one type of improvements at the same time. So for example, if a team is working on the Dash editor, they might work on a set of these improvements all at the same time, opposed to a team stopping to do something for Dash, something for TC editor, something for Line, because that just ends up being less productive for us. But I know that we can be more transparent about this process. That's actually the reason for the Q&A, is to start being more transparent about our product process so people understand where we're at. The place that we're probably falling down the most is communicating with Revvers about the status of different things. With people like Patrick and Beth now joining the community team and being available on the forums, this is something that we're aspiring to be better at. And please hold us accountable. So again, everyone has their email addresses available. Mine's more complicated because it's Schuler@Rev. Way easier to get a hold of me on the forums. We aspire to do better here, to let everyone know where we're at. But yeah, our process right now is documenting all of the feedback in all of the places, prioritizing things based on what the team is working on at a particular point in time, and then for update notes. So if you haven't been on the forums and haven't seen update notes, we generally do one update a week. There's generally always something for Revvers in those updates. If you're on the forums, you can see what we've done each week. And generally, you'll kind of see themes in those for the update notes for what we've released each week for Revvers. But Michelle or Mark, you want to add anything on this topic?
Yeah, I would just add that every comment that you're posting, or every suggestion that you're posting to the forum is being read. As Rai mentioned, like we could be doing a much better job about like replying to it, or like communicating back to you where it fits. For many different reasons, we can't keep you updated on everything that's going on. We literally have a backlog that has, over 10,000 different, feature requests, improvements, bugs, et cetera. And we can't easily go back to everything. I will say that we're also looking to tools that will help us do that on a more automated fashion, but like nothing in the works yet. One thing, back to the issue about like overall prioritization, how we think about it is all the suggestions are helpful, right? The ones that are most likely to be worked on sooner rather than later are ones that are already fit into the objectives that were accomplished for the year. And Michelle mentioned earlier some of the things that are key to, or core to like what we want to make improvements on over the next year or so are things that improve your ability to earn money, right? To make your lives easier, to provide you with better choice and flexibility in terms of the jobs you choose. And so that's the sort of the lens through which we view a lot of the other improvements that come up.
Hey, we have a few more minutes here before we're out the door, so let's see what else we can grab here. So again, right now in the live watch thread on the forums, people are talking about this. This is a question. This has come up. So as we work to improve customer security, Rev has changed things. Revers feel like they've lost tools that help them do their jobs better and deliver quality to customers. So the question here is, what can we do to give things back to Revers, and how can we, or I guess actually, sorry, the second part of this is, as we vet Revers, and I think this is going to be things like ID verification, as we vet Revers, what can we do to give Revers more to help them do jobs better, deliver quality jobs? Maybe one for you, Michelle?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So the reason that we're trying to make these security improvements to our platform, which I know has resulted in changes that are unpopular with many of you, and it have made some aspects of your job harder, is to try to attract larger customers to Rev, right, and to make them more comfortable placing orders with us. And so one of the big examples of something that we're hoping that we can give back to all of you is this CP Pro jobs offering that we've just started to test last week. That is a premium service where large customers with higher quality requirements, with higher security requirements, are trying to get a product that's a little bit more premium than what we offer today, and they're willing to pay more for it. And so we're hoping that by making these improvements, we can get more customer demand and hopefully create more choice and opportunities for you all to earn more. But unfortunately, I think the security changes we've made, those are things we've had to make on the security front, and we won't be able to bring back some of the functionality. But if there continue to be kind of like problems that you're having, yeah, just let us know, and we'll see like if there are other tools that we can build to help you accomplish those tasks in a way that doesn't compromise security. I can't always say that we'll be able to do that, but if you let us know, that helps us get one step closer.
Yeah, I mean, because I see the things in the forum going on this. Penny is probably the best example in the forums right now, calling out export to Word to preview a file. Like, to improve customer security, it doesn't make sense for us to continue to allow Revers to download things out of the editors. But there's probably ways that we can deliver that same functionality to improve productivity. So as you're giving us suggestions in all of the places, and the easiest place might be the forums, whenever you can talk about the type of thing you need to do, how to improve your productivity, those are better conversations for us, opposed to saying, I can't download files. Like, it's intentional that Revers can't download files. But if the functionality is missing, those are the better conversations for us to engage in, so we can make sure that we are building things to help improve Rever productivity, while at the same time we're improving the security of our platform to make things better for both customers and for Revers. We might have a couple minutes here. Let's see if we can get one more question before we do our outro here. Can files that are completely devoid of speaking or English be weeded out prior to peering to transcriptionists to help save them time? Is that better for Michelle or Mark?
Yeah, I can take that. Yeah, absolutely. I think we can, and we have been actually making some progress on this front. So, with the introduction of like line and dash and speech recognition, one thing that we're able to do is try to use that speech recognition to give us some signals about the files before they appear to you all. So actually, something that we did implement earlier this year is try to use speech recognition to detect when exactly, as this person is asking, when there is no audio in the file. And that was actually pretty successful. I think we were able to catch like 30% of all the files that don't have speech before they make it to you guys, to save you time. And so the trade-off here is always just around like how accurate can we be, right? Like sometimes, if someone is speaking like a foreign language, it can be hard to tell, is it truly English or a foreign language, or if there's some background noise, does it qualify as something we would transcribe or caption, or is it just like pure background noise and we shouldn't do that? But yeah, I hope that we can kind of automate more of this stuff going forward and make more progress here.
So I think we have just a few minutes left of the session, and we might want to give everyone a chance to maybe close things out for everyone. Do we want to have Jason or Mark do maybe some of the closing statements on this? I know we didn't get to all the questions, but sometimes we don't. If you have other questions, always feel free to ask us on the forums. We're available there. And again, I know that I may maybe not been as available as it would be awesome for everybody, but with Patrick and Beth on the forums, we're hoping to be more responsive. You can message any of us. And I saw Patrick shared all of our email addresses in the forum. So if you don't want to get a hold of us in the forums, you can find those our email addresses on the forums. But yeah, Jason, why don't you go ahead and give us closing thoughts here?
Yeah, thanks everybody for attending, especially those of you that have followed us through these different Q&As. We'll be doing another one in the early part of next year. And I don't know the topic. It won't be about product. It'll be based upon whatever topic many of you want to hear about. So I'd encourage folks to drop us a note. You can send anybody a note. We all coordinate. What do you want to hear about? What's top of mind? What do you want us to discuss? These sessions are for you guys. It's our intention to talk about whatever's most important and to change the topic each quarter so that we shed light into different parts of how we do things at Rev. That's really it for today. I guess we won't be formally talking, at least via video, for the rest of the year, I don't think. And so I'd love to wish everybody a happy holiday. However you celebrate it. Hope folks are able to spend some time with family and loved ones. Despite the challenges around us. Thank you everybody for your time. And again, we always love hearing from you guys. Don't be shy about shooting me a note or, you can reply in the forum. I mean, for example, I always go and I always read all the forum threads discussing these events, in the day or two after them. So we really do try to hear everybody's voice, and we don't, we obviously can't reply to every question and every comment, but we do our best to hear every comment and to try to identify the most common concerns so we can work on the things that we hear from most of you. Thanks, everybody. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Whatever your holiday choice is, we hope you enjoy it. Take care.